Hello and welcome to BWTV. We're here at SAP Now happening in New Delhi, and on the sidelines we have a very special guest for a very special conversation, Mr. Manish Prasad, who's the President and Managing Director, SAP Indian Subcontinent, and he's going to talk to us about the general enthusiasm, his readings of what he's picking up at this event, SAP's larger macro picture, what's happening on the AI front, the cloud industry, the adoption of how Indian SMEs are ready for this adoption, and of course, how it is enabling industries to move towards their net zero goals. First of all, Manish, what's the enthusiasm that you're picking here at SAP Now? What has been your understandings of what the enthusiasm is? What are you reading?
First of all, thank you for having me here. Absolute pleasure and privilege to talk to all of you. Look, SAP Now is a massive global event, but which is localized for every country. And what is so significant about India is the fact that on one side, it's a melting pot of a lot of innovation, a lot of thought leadership that our customers, our partner ecosystems are bringing in, along with the wider community. On the other hand, it actually dovetails extremely well with the India growth story. So if you see what we're going to see over the next few hours is a conglomeration of and a collaboration of thought leadership, how to leverage the digital platforms at scale, at speed, sweating the IT assets that our customers have created over a period of time, and how do you build an element of innovation, keeping the human talent at the front and center of whatever our organizations and our customers are doing for the common good of business and the society.
Right. You very precisely mentioned about the India growth story. And this is something reflected in SAP's larger business performance as well in the quarter gone by, with India being described as a standout performer. Tell us a bit more of how India has been in this past quarter. What is driving this momentum when you call India as the standout performer in the larger picture?
I think the most exciting part about the India growth story is the inclusivity, right? I think we are not leaving any segment of the society, any segment from an industry vertical standpoint. Organizations across all sizes are growing, and it is also creating probably a significant talent movement, right? While I still feel a lot needs to be done in terms of bridging the gap from education to employability. But if you look at the availability of talent, and I passionately talk about that we are obviously the oldest civilization with the youngest population, I think that trigger, along with the all key indicators of growth, is probably flowing what we are seeing from a market standpoint. And obviously, SAP is at the front and center of this growth strategy that India has. Let me share a few data points with you. Look, we have been in the market for almost 3 decades now, right? I think we can proudly say that about 60% of India's GDP touches the SAP system in some form and shape. So that's the base and the foundation in which we are working. We probably work with almost every large enterprise that one can think of, cutting across, as I said, industry verticals, government, healthcare, life sciences, the entire gamut of auto industries and the component manufacturers. But equally important has been our focus on mid-market, right? I think in a country where we estimate that there are about close to 75 million SMEs in the country, I think what we have been able to do significantly well is to create solutions and platforms that can be embraced by mid-market as they are going through quantum leap. Right? When the economy is growing by about 6-7x or 6-7%, right? The mid-market is going to be a huge area of growth. And to be able to complement this growth with our technology solutions and our partner ecosystem is one biggest advantage that we see for ourselves in the country.
Okay. Very rightly you mentioned about how the SMEs are the backbone of the Indian economy, and when, especially in the context when you say that 60% of the GDP is touched by SAP. We'll talk a bit more into detail about that. But let me talk about the buzz in the town, AI. A lot of focus by SAP as well on business AI. In fact, 20% of your deals in the last quarter, including premium AI cases. Tell us about how the industry is looking at it, their readiness when it comes to AI adoptness and their AI consumption patterns. Bit more details on that.
Let me just demystify this. Let me just put it in a very, very easy concept. Look, the technology was always there to automate the processes, right? And then there's a set of data that comes in as a part of automating the process. I think our customers have been using 2 or 3 generations of technology now, and which has really helped them in terms of automating their processes. I think the beauty that is coming in is that while the automation has happened, the next level of intelligence needs to come in. And look, what AI essentially is doing is embedding the entire efficiency into a process in conjunction with human talent to bring in the non-linearity of growth by making the processes more efficient. And I think that's the impact of AI. Look, so if you kind of break any business process across, typical areas of order to cash, hire to retire, design to operate, right? Take any process and you will realize that there is an element of talent in conjunction with AI to bring in that efficiency. And I think what SAP has done beautifully well is that we have been able to design our entire AI in the context of business. So we are not calling this as a Gen AI, we are calling this as a business AI, AI which is relevant for business, AI which is relevant for communities. And we have kind of pegged this entire AI strategy across 3 Rs that we passionately talk about. Whatever we are designing and developing has to be relevant for business and communities. It has to be reliable so that the data sets that we are talking about is relevant in the context of our customers' business. And more importantly, we need to hold it very responsibly. We know that the art of possibilities through Gen AI, so it's extremely, extremely important that we conduct ourselves and use AI for the right purposes. I think that the culmination of all 3 is accelerating our business given the plethora of platforms and services and the capabilities that SAP has today for the market.
And love very rightly the analogy with business AI, especially something that will resonate with industries. Right. So in that context, how are these AI innovations being received by Indian clients? Mahindra and Mahindra, was a special mention by the global team in their recent investors call. Right. If you could tell something about that.
Look, I think one of the first things that we are realizing that, look, it's an iterative process, right? One of the things that we have realized is that once our customers move and embrace the SAP Cloud platform, it is much easier for us to co-innovate with them. Simply because the capabilities that we are talking about can only be delivered through a cloud outcome. Now, in case of Mahindra and Mahindra, since you brought that example, right, we looked at the entire experience part, the entire human capital management part, and then broke down into pieces where an element of human and technology can coexist. So starting from designing the job descriptions to be able to create a significant experience from a recruitment standpoint, how do you create the right kind of job descriptions to manage a particular set of functions that needs to be performed? That's again an exciting element of being able to bring business AI to life. Right? Similarly, other customers are probably looking at their order to cash process. Can they bring in sales efficiency? Can they bring in productivity there? Some are looking at building up AI use cases in terms of improving the quality, right, of the products that are going in. Some are using in terms of designing new platforms that may be required to augment the business capability. So you have a plethora of examples that are available. And the one that really excites me is when it comes to being AI for human cause. Right? I passionately talk about the example that we did with Narayan Hyderale, where we are actually reducing the child blindness in infants by using technology and AI at scale. And I think that's the real impact of AI beyond businesses.
Let me go back to the SMBs part. Very rightly you mentioned how they touch 60% of the GDP, and a lot of thrust by the government as well in this year's budget as well on SMEs. For their credit needs as well. But when we talk about their digital transformation journey, if you could tell our viewers a bit more on what SAP is doing, how their readiness is for their digital transformation journey and how you're enabling it.
Look, it's an extremely, extremely exciting space. I mean, if you look at the entire mid market, which is probably growing at a speed of 3x, 4x, one of the biggest, I would say challenges, but the opportunities they are thinking through is that how do they embrace technology to bring that growth, right? You will always have a challenge of human talent. They probably have to leapfrog not only from a processes standpoint, but in terms of what they want to achieve. There's a huge appetite in terms of growing and growing exponentially. And you can probably do that by mixing your talent with technology, encompassed with AI at the front and center. And I think that's the mandate which is coming in. We recently did a survey and we realized that about the consumption of business AI in mid-market is likely to be as high as 96% against a global average of 90 to 93%. Now that's the impact, because on one side you absolutely need talent, you need acceleration of your business, and if you have to bring both these pieces together, the AI becomes a single glue in terms of being able to take it back to the market. So I think extremely exciting space for us in business AI given, and it's cutting across all the industry verticals that one can think of.
In the beginning of the year, you mentioned about undergoing a major restructuring program, right? And if I have to quote it directly, to prepare the company for a highly scalable future revenue growth. How is this restructuring, will impact the India operations, and what, given now, when that happens, when you say that you looking for a scalable future for its revenue growth, where do you see India's contribution in the wider APAC region? And will there be any reduction in the headcount when we're looking at such restructuring?
I think we have to first go back to their first principle that India is a growing market. I think the things that we are seeing in India, the speed with which innovation is happening, the scale with which innovation is happening, you touch anything, it touches millions and billions, right? I think that's the potential of this market. Look, the restructuring, probably the way it is kind of is being looked upon, I think we are reshifting our entire transformation into areas that are going to propel growth, keeping our customers at the center of it. So it's all about, how do we make our investments more insightful for our customers? And if you kind of talk about the India story, I think, the only thing that we talk about internally is the positivity, the investments that can happen. We have recently come with 2 data centers in the country, right? We are thinking about expanding our business there. You have heard about the investments where we are doing in labs, one of the largest R&D centers for SAP, probably the second largest and the largest outside of Germany. There are 15,000 professionals working out there. We have set up a large campus in Bangalore as well. I think it's all about positivity, right? And then the amount of innovation which is coming in. I think the story just keeps growing and growing for us, and super, super excited about organizations' commitment to the India market, given the potential of this market.
Another important aspect, Manish, that I would like to touch upon is around sustainability. Ambitious targets by the government, net zero by 2070, corporates having their own internal targets for their carbon neutrality. How is SAP enabling it? If you could give some details on it.
I think we have to be absolutely conscious about the planet, right? Businesses will expand, communities will grow, but our focus on planet becomes extremely important. And I think we as an organization are one of the first movers in terms of not only looking at the top line and bottom line, we have also looked at green line in a big way. You would recently hear about the green ledger we are talking about. We are measuring footprint at a process level, at a sub-process level. The intent and the idea is that while businesses are getting conducted, and in the case of India particularly, where every industry is probably going to grow by 3x, 4x, while we are moving, if you look at the manufacturing base, right, we probably have to embrace technology and systems and processes and machines that probably reduces the overall carbon footprint. And this is the moment for India. So while we are leapfrogging from a business standpoint, I think we are also doing enough from a market standpoint in terms of being the front runner of how to embrace technologies which are green in nature and reduce the overall global footprint. And SAP is again something that, as an organization, we are investing big on that. We have made our own commitments of being carbon neutral or carbon negative by 2030. A lot of positivity is going in there.
My last question to you, Manish. This is with regards to the larger macroeconomic picture. We've seen a lot of tightening in the last 2 years, but now, it's looking like that we'll have some rate cuts and the inflation situation being in control. How do you see the software industry going forward? If you could give some guidance on that, given these macroeconomic situations that may improve in the coming 2 or 3 months.
Look, if you go through every decade, these situations arise. I think the beauty here is that the capability of technology is going to be will play a very significant role in probably, I won't say eliminating, but reducing the impact, right? So, some of the solutions that SAP has to offer is all about creating cost takeouts, which then creates a surplus cash for our customers to probably put in the areas of growth, right? So our entire spend the entire spend platform that we have, starting from source to procure, procure to pay, our entire logistics and supply chain, given that India has always been a supply constrained economy. These solutions are being formed, right, embraced with business AI as the foundation layer, is all about creating cost takeouts. Then we are bringing in process efficiency through our digital core. So every process that an industry can think of, and by the way, there are 25 flavors to that because we cater to 25 industries, right? We look at all the core functions, and that's where we are embedding AI to bring in the efficiency and effectiveness of a process in conjunction with the human talent. And at the front end, we are creating all those customer journeys and experiences, which are nothing but additional revenue levers. So from our vantage point, I think we have all the set of portfolios available that can only help customers, with some events coming here and there. But I think the fundamentals of the business is so strong, and the capability of platforms are there to only accelerate growth for our customers.
Right. Thank you so much, Manish, for your time on the sidelines here to talk to us. So that was Mr. Manish Prasad, President and Managing Director, SAP Indian Subcontinent, talking to us about what he's reading here when it comes to business AI, the industry's embracement for it, sustainability, and what will SAP India's role in India's growth story. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much, Manish, again.